In this video, I'm going to walk you through the materials prep for Lesson 13 of Unit 8.1. Okay, so there's a bit of prep in this one. I've talked about in the other video about how I would modify this to make it go a little faster. The first thing I would do is I would actually create this poster. You don't need all the details, but I would fill this out so that we could talk about those top performers. And really all we need to figure out is that there's space in between the solid materials. And so we're going to push it towards needing to creating a physical model using rings that look like this. So your drawings need to represent these rings somehow. So bubble wrap would have these rings, sponge and foam earplugs. Styrofoam as well might be handy. Even if you do cardboard or cotton, you just need to make sure those spaces are showing and that it makes sense to represent this with rings. So I would create this poster or something like this, put it up on your projected screen and talk about how could we make a scale model? What could we use to create this structure and kind of test these at a larger scale? That's all we're going to do here. So I wouldn't build this with students. I would have this filled out. But that's the directions for this one. So that would eliminate the need for these pieces of paper. If you do want to build this with students, you just get these scrap pieces of paper or cut out poster pieces that you're going to tape on as you go. Okay, you will also need this poster right here. This is the consensus model from lesson 5. We're going to be creating some force diagrams or free body diagrams. So we need to remind them how we do this. So we just need to reference this. And we also need to create some ring structures. Now, these are made of file folder plastic. You cut different strips that are 1 inch wide, about 9.25 inches long. And you're going to need, it depends on how you do this. If you do it as a demo, you don't need as much. If you do it in lab stations and you let students explore, I would have each lab station probably have 6 of these rings. And then I would give them a base plate with this washers on top. And then I suggested taking pictures like this. Here's your first picture. You just give a picture like this, and then you have them try to compare this with another one. So actually, I think with a group of 4, it depends on how much materials you have. If you could give each group of 4 or group of 6 2 washers taped onto an electrical plate, and then the 6 rings, they could really compare what they look like side by side. We're just looking for the pattern that when you have more rings, it spreads out the weight more evenly. And it's less force on the ring. Okay, you want to make sure your weighted plates all are exactly the same weight. So use a digital scale. You want them to be 200 grams each. So you use some washers and then you add sticky tack or clay to get them all to be the exact same weight. All right, that's about it. So this would be the exploration with the rings or the demonstration. And that is about it. The rest are handouts. And so if you go to the handout list, this is a data table. There's 2 on it. The formatting's really bad. Just, they only need 1 data table per person. I just took the data table off, or you cut it in half. They will need this free body diagram handout. This is where they will draw the free body diagrams. I suggest you do the first one in class and then have them work with a partner to do the others and then go over it as a class. And then exploring shape of a cushioning material. This is going to be what they fill out while they're at their lab station if you give them the rings to explore with those weighted plates. And that's about it. Here's a reading. This is Anatomy of a Bike Helmet. To be quite honest, this could be optional, but it talks about basically why the foam in the helmet is squishy, and it's all the different structures that can deform in that foam. So that's it. So you will need to make sure that you have access to these videos right here. Make sure that they work. And while they watch the videos, they're filling out this data table right there. So that's about it. Actually, the prep is not that bad. The hardest thing is going to be cutting up and making all those rings. And if you're going to take pictures and put them on an LMS or print them out, that's going to be your biggest prep. Okay, good luck with lesson 13.